of grace, in need of love, in need of mercy raining down from high above. Hello, welcome to COC TV. My name is Gentle Wamana, and with us on this session we have Evangelist Mike Udam.
Hello, yes, my pleasure to be here as always.
Okay, so today we will be talking about social media, its use, its advantage, disadvantages, abuse, and everything concerning social media and the Christian. With us is Brother Mike Udam. Brother Mike Udam is a social media evangelist. He's very active in the online space. I hope I'm correct, sir.
That's very correct. I have been there for the past 11 years.
Wow, 11 years, that's a long time. Brother Mike Udam, with your wealth of experience in the social media space, may we know the beauty of this particular thing called social media?
Well, I'll be speaking from two standpoints. I'll speak as an educational technologist that I am, and then I'll also speak like someone who have used the social media for a very long period now. Now, from the educational standpoint, once you introduce media to education, it makes learning a little bit easier. And so when social media came up and a lot of us subscribed to it, we did that because we wanted to learn things in the globe faster, and we achieved it. Honestly, I'm one person that achieved so much on social media. When people talk about the ills of social media, I start by first talking about the good side of social media. Because with social media, a lot can be done very easily. In Africa, we work hard. In the Western world, they work smart. So that's just the difference. So social media has made work very smart and easy. It has made communication simpler. It has made interpersonal relationship easier, and it has reduced a lot of quarrels.
Oh.
So for me, social media, excellent.
Thank you. You have just talked about the beauty of social media, and the passing you mentioned the ills. But just before we take you on that, because I really want to know what ills there are, you've talked about the beauty of social media. How does it affect the gospel? How beautiful is this thing?
That is why I said it's beautiful.
Okay.
Because when you have an opportunity to preach to people, for example, I have about 2,400 followers and 5,000 friends. So one single message can get to 5,000 people and compulsorily 2,000 plus. Compulsorily because they subscribe by being followers. So whatsoever I do, they are following me. And that single message is shared on my Instagram page, on my Twitter handle, and I share it on my WhatsApp. And so you can see, with just one single message, or my WhatsApp contact gets it, my Facebook contact gets it, those on Twitter and those on Instagram, one message.
Beautiful.
And then you can now see that the message of the gospel, that Jesus came to die for us and to establish the church, which is the pathway to get back to him, is spread.
Okay, so the social media is a beautiful space. It helps us communicate faster and so many other nice things you have said. If this is the case, why then is it that we have preachers of the gospel in our congregations tell young people, don't use social media? We usually hear that. They say, don't use it. It's more of a direct instruction that this thing is evil. Can you go to the ills of social media and try to balance it for us? Is it something we should use, or you're saying we should use it more carefully? What are the ills of social media?
I will not even go to the ill. I will address the preacher that said don't use it. He's saying so because maybe he lacks capacity. When you are exposed to how to do things, you will discover that nobody can stop you from using the simplest way of doing things. For example, I just dropped in Port Harcourt now, and I said, I post on I'm in Port Harcourt now, looking for a cheap hotel with good security. I leave it there. Within 25 minutes, people will tell me where to go to lodge. That is a service. In those days, I would have asked a cyclist or a passerby, please, where's a hotel where I can sleep?
And getting it from your followers, it should be more trustworthy and reliable information.
Of course, you will look at the people that are telling you what to do. So the point I'm trying to make is that that preacher who says so has allowed the perceived ill to overwhelm the good intention. A knife, you know a knife. You know a knife. We use it to cut the coconut. We use it to clear the grass. We use it so much. That knife can also be used to harm somebody. So the fact that it can harm somebody should not mean I should have a knife in the house. So I will not be able to cut things in my compound. I can't cut the grass. Because if I have a knife, I'll use it to harm somebody. No. The abuse should not disqualify the use. So back to the ills. There are some ills actually. And let me give you a practical example. People can easily dupe people on social media. I know I've lost some money on social media. There was this time that gas shot up. And so there was so much advertisement about stove, a particular stove, that I fell for it. There was something I did not check, and which I know how to check. I subscribed and I even paid some money, expecting it to be brought to me. When later on I discovered it was late. So I know so many people that have been duped on social media, and I also know those who use social media for deception. For example, my profile picture is there with myself and my wife, boldly displayed. So when I come to discuss with you and pretend to be single, I'll be telling a lie. But there are those who are married. You can see a picture of them being married. They are always appearing single. And as such, they can, a lot of things have happened. I have a very funny story, which is quite funny. A young man was invited a lady to her house, and when the lady came, a young man, you know this idea of giving a phone to somebody to talk to the cyclist.
Okay.
So he asked the lady to give the phone to the cyclist. He wants to tell the cyclist to describe this way his house is. He told the cyclist, "At the Siuna, the girl waiting for that, where you carry, so you know the one was for internet. Can I go back to the bus stop where you carry?" You get the background of what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
Now, so many things have happened. I was coming back from Kenya. I sat beside a young woman from Ethiopia, and I wondered where she was going. She was going to Ghana to see a Facebook friend.
Wow.
Yes, so a lot of people can be duped into it. That's why people say it's bad. But there are the areas that we make it to be bad. For example, we are not polite. Even those of us who call ourselves Christians, we are not polite in the way we write. And sometimes we present pictures on Facebook that are different from reality. I know that when you see them on Facebook, you admire their marriage. But when you come to the house, it's something else. So I used to tell my wife, don't judge marriages by a Facebook post, because they can be deceptive. You know, a lot of people are fighting so many problems, but they come to Facebook and social media and camouflage, and you see a different picture. And of course, in this era of painting, for the men, those of you who are not yet married, you are really in trouble. Because when you see them on social media after packaging themselves, you say, wow. You see them in real, you understand the difference.
I want to find out, sir. When someone's profile on a social media says something different from the actual, maybe someone who's resident in Nigeria says he or she is resident in the United States.
Yes.
Does that qualify as a lie? That is
Yes,
that can take someone to hell?
I even posted an article about a month ago,
Okay.
asking preachers that this fellowship should start from social media. And I know I was sufficiently tongue-lashed. Somebody said, "Is my media space?" I said, "No, but you are a Christian, you are my brother. You can't be lying." You know, people tell lies with impunity. Because nobody says, when preachers, my congregation, none of my members, they're all online, none of them misbehave online, because I have 10 rules to guide ethical behavior online. 1, you don't use abusive words. If you do that, you have violated Colossians 4:6 and Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28 and 29. You violated. He said, let no corrupt word proceed out of our mouth, but that which will minister grace to the hearers. And Colossians 4:6 says, our words should be seasoned with salt. You understand? So when a Christian goes on social media and is abusive, he has violated clear-cut biblical principle and ought to be disciplined. So when a preacher isn't online, how will you know what his members are doing? How about liking and sharing? When you like a post, it means you have given approval. When you read Romans chapter 1, verse 31, who is one of the most dangerous person in the entire Bible, he said there are people that do not commit sin, but they give approval to those who do it. A lot of people have not taken time to read Romans 1:31. And so when I look at it, I just smile and say, oh my God, this person does not know. Clicking like to a picture of a woman that is nude or half nude, you are saying that you have given approval to that behavior. That's how sad it is. How much more sharing a message from a denominational person that the message is contrary to the plain teaching of the scriptures. Like even when maybe one of the days you may be discussing about miracle in the near future, a lot of people have just seen some things that people say, oh, it's a miracle. Somebody told me one day, say, Mike, waking up in the morning is a miracle. I said, no, sir. It's because the definition of miracle has not been properly taught. So people do not understand what a miracle is, and people just mix things up. I was sharing with a friend. I said, look, it's still on social media anyway. I told a friend of mine, I said, a woman giving birth after several years of not being able to conceive is not a miracle. That it becomes a miracle if she sat on her bed alone, nobody visited her, then she becomes pregnant. That's a miracle.
Okay, we're going to come to that. Now, there's this aspect I want you to tell us very clearly. Are we responsible? Are we going to be judged? Better put, are we going to be judged on our actions on social media? I think that what you're doing is to apply the Bible to the 21st century digital context.
Yeah.
Many people do not see it from that.
We will be judged.
Okay.
If you look at Matthew 12:36, it's every word that we speak, we give account. The social media, we don't only speak, we write. We can just adjust it. Every word that we speak is every word that we write. We give account. And when we become accountable to what we write, and of course people have been taken to court by what they write.
True.
On social media. Yes. So it's as deep as that. But the challenge, the real problem is most preachers or most gospel ministers are not on social media to know what their members are doing.
And I think that's part of the shepherding, right?
Yes, yeah, of course you are supposed to be there to be able to know so that you can guide them and rebuke when necessary. I know a brother that I wrote an article politically. He called me and said, Mike, you are a preacher, you are a minister of the gospel, you have to stay neutral. Bring down the article. I said, yes, I brought it down. And from that day, I refused to talk about politics from the angle of taking side. He reminded me of who I am. Because he was watching over what I was doing. The point I'm trying to make is that, look, as young people, we have the energy. I rather will spend time on social media. When we mention social media, a lot of people don't know that YouTube is social media. Instagram is social media. A lot of people go to where, I was teaching my young men, I told them, I said, look, go to where you gain, not where you lose. When you stay on Facebook, you only read people's stories. When you stay on YouTube, you learn. As I talk to you, I know the skills I've learned on earth from just having YouTube videos available at my disposal. In fact, there is nothing on earth. There's nothing on earth that I cannot do. Surprise? That is the power. As I talk to you, there are 14 million videos on YouTube free of charge. Just the code, how to. There's nothing.
That's like a university.
Yes. And of course, there are about 6 universities in the world now that you can attend for free.
Okay, so I'm thinking that maybe we should channel our arguments to asking our members and Christians to use social media more and in more deliberate ways and more useful ways rather than discouraging the use of social media.
That's correct. And the reason is that the man discouraging has not gone in to know. Of course, it's not a new thing in the Christian world today. There was a time when the religious group in Nigeria banned their members from using television and called it evil, but today they preach on television. You see, when people don't understand, when people bring God to where He has not asked them to bring Him to, they begin to make laws where there are no laws.
One more question for you, sir.
Yes.
Social media and preaching. You have been preaching on social media for a pretty long time.
Yes.
What are the exact challenges you face preaching the gospel on social media?
3 challenges. 3. 1, a lot of people that read what you write and because of poor comprehension do not understand you. 2, some brothers who are pricked by what you write become even a stumbling block. 3, in education we talk about the audience. The social media is a mixed audience. For example, I have a policy, and a lot of people may not understand this policy, and maybe today, if they watch this video, they can understand the policy. I try to write in simple and comprehensible writing. The reason is, if I write because I have a master's degree, if I write because I'm a PhD student, only those at that top level will understand me, and in education, their communication has not taken place. So one of the challenges is try to lower what you write so that the lowest person can understand. You rather throw away the bigger boys who look at your writing as too low, as a challenge. You may not understand that it's a big one. Because, okay, for example, we are discussing the Bible now. And let's say we want to discuss a topic of baptism, for example, which is one of my favorite topics. I have to go historical. I have to take you back to show you where the first century church started with baptism, historically the Bible at the corner, and get to a point where the first person, Novetan, was baptized in 243 AD by sprinkling. It is there you realize now that the concept of sprinkling is not really a Bible concept, but it came out as a result necessitated by an event. Before I return you back to talk about the Bible. So a person that is not patient will not, he writes too long. Because I really want my audience to understand. So the 3 things: 1, mixed audience; 2, quarrelsome brothers. Like when each time I write about that alcohol, oh my God, because they know they don't drink, they don't make law when God has not made law, they shout. But when you write the one that suits them, they say, you're a good preacher. You understand?
That's relatable.
Yes, and then you have people that do not even understand, they are just on social media.
Final thoughts, sir. And the final thoughts will be on liking and sharing.
Yes.
You preach on social media.
Yes.
I don't know how active Christians are in engaging your posts, your media posts. What are you going to tell our viewers on how better they can use their like and their shares to further promote the gospel?
Well, I am not writing for commercial sake. So whether the likes are low or the likes are high, it doesn't add any value to me. If I was doing for commercial, I would be looking for much like. Now, for the issue of sharing is about conviction. I know brethren that don't fail to share the posts I write. There are some I call them and say, please be convinced before sharing. They tell me, no, they understand. They know the source this is coming from. 11 years and I've been writing, and I'm not tired. You know, one of the things I'm convinced, sometimes when I engage in an argument with someone online, a lot of people see the person that is arguing with me. I tell people, no. My vice principal came one day and repeated the argument I had with a brother over New Year.
That means your vice principal was following.
Quietly. The zonal director in the Ministry of Education in Cross River State, a very good friend of mine, if I don't write for 2 days, he will call me on phone. What is happening? You are keeping us blank. There was a day I was proud that a top man in the ministry can call me that is, for 2 days now he has not read from me. I told him I've been down in health, so oh, get well soon. He has never commented. So there are more who read and not comment, but the message is sinking.
I'm beginning to think that social media is helping the gospel reach places where ordinarily by door to door we may not.
No. Again, now you're going to another area which is going to be problematic. It is because the church have narrowed evangelism to only one speck narrow evangelism to door to door, and they have not opened up the other spaces. A lot of people are still looking for money to be able to get a satellite television to preach to, and they have not really explored the social media. I know that if you can share a video on TikTok, can share a video on YouTube, can share a video on Facebook, it has a more wider, but how many families have time to subscribe to DSTV? You take the message of salvation to the people where they are. If they are at the garage, you take it down to them. And most of the people, they all have Android phones now. And so you look for message that can get into the person at his convenience. And you have done your part. Ours is to preach. It's God's job to convert. So that's the point I'm making. So if you can imagine, if out of 5,000 preachers we have in Nigeria, let's say 3,000 preach daily on social media, and let's say I have 5,000 followers, and the other preachers may not be as popular on social media like me, and they have 3,000, 2,000 at the case, and of course you know the issue of set theory in mathematics, where you can have cross.
Yes.
Where somebody could be a friend of this preacher and also a friend of me. You understand me? And you can imagine he goes to this wall of this preacher, he's receiving a message here, he comes here, he's getting from me, he gets there. At the point he will be saturated at the middle. But here, you just maybe only one person preaching. In fact, if you want to count social preachers on social media in Nigeria, we're not up to 20. Especially of the Church of Christ. We're not. I can even count them by name. And you want to count those who stream their services live on Sunday. They are not to 10 congregations stream services live. And these are services that are free. We don't even pay for it. You just pay by the data that you buy. So my point is, social media has opened the space for conversation. Let's take the conversation there and engage the world. And that's what I do, even though sometimes I'm distracted too, because I'm a football fan, I support Liverpool, and sometimes I jump up when say go Mane and Mo Salah have scored.
That's also part of it. All work and no play makes Michael Udam. So thank you so much for being with us on COC TV on this session. We have been taking social media, and we've been with our beloved minister, Brother Mike Udam, who is a minister in Cross River State.
Before you close, okay. I can tell them how to get to me.
That's also fine.
Yes, you just type Mike Udam or Mike Nkonjo Udam, any of the two. You can get in touch with me. But to accept your friend request, I have 2,300 friend requests waiting, because I don't know what to do with the 5,000. I even think of removing somebody and replacing, because the limit is 5,000 and I'm already filled.
Wow.
So you can just best follow me. And you will enjoy, you receive messages every day, and you will enjoy, your faith will be strengthened.
So do well to follow Brother Mike Udam and COC TV and other life-changing channels that will come up where you can get the gospel undiluted. Thank you for joining us on this session. My name is Gentle Wamana.